Welcome to my class. In this video, I am going to solve few examples to compute inverse Laplace transform. We know that Laplace transform is a very important mathematical tool which allows analysis of broader class of signals as well as both stable and unstable LTI systems, which is not the case with Fourier transform. Yes. So we'll start with complex exponentials, how this Fourier transform or the Laplace transform are being generated. So if I consider input as e to the power st, which is a complex exponential passing through a system of impulse response h of t, then the response of the system will be generated using linear convolution, and linear convolution of the impulse response with the input sequence x of t. As it is shown mathematically, we are writing the convolution equation, and we clearly see that this convolution equation can be rewritten in e to the power st. If I take out of the integration sign, whatever left we are getting is your h of s e to the power st. Or I can say that the complex exponential is the eigenfunction of a LTI system. When a complex exponential passes through a LTI system, the response of the LTI system which h of s e to the power st, which h of s in this case is considered as eigenvalue. Yes, that is why x of t, which is the complex exponential, is considered as eigenfunction for a LTI system. Now the eigenvalue generated by LTI system is actually h of s, or we can say it is the Laplace transform of the impulse response h of t, and it can be written as integration of h of t e to the power minus of st dt from minus infinity to infinity. Yes. So here for any signal or impulse response of any LTI system, we can calculate the Laplace transform using this basic equation. Yes. Now, here the S can be considered as a complex value, or S is sigma plus j omega, where sigma is the real part and omega is the imaginary part. H of s exists for a set of values of s, which is called as region of convergence, ROC, and we always calculate the Laplace transform of any signal or any system along with its set of ROCs, set of values of s, for which the transform converges. Now we'll go to the inverse Laplace transform. The inverse Laplace transform of any signal or impulse response can be generated with the help of Fourier transform. I will take the help of Fourier transform here. So as we know, the Laplace transform of any signal x of t is represented as x of s, which is x of t integration of x of t from minus e to the power minus of st dt from minus infinity to infinity, where s is sigma plus j omega, can be written as, if I place s with sigma plus j omega, I am getting x of t e to the power minus of sigma t e to the power minus of j omega t dt, or I will just rewrite it, integration minus infinity to infinity x of t e to the power minus of, instead of s I will write sigma plus j omega into t dt, which can be broken up into x of t e to the power minus of sigma t dt into e to the power minus of j omega t, which is same as applying Fourier transform to a signal x of t e to the power minus of sigma t. So you can say that Laplace transform is a generalization of Fourier transform. Yes. So I will consider if sigma is applied for some specific value is fixed, then inverse Fourier transform will be x of t e to the power minus of sigma t will be generated as 1 by 2 pi integration minus infinity to infinity x of sigma plus j omega e to the power j omega t d omega. Yes, which will give us x of t as 1 by 2 pi e to the power minus of sigma t will be multiplied on the other side as e to the power sigma t, and the equation can be rewritten like this. Yes, so inverse Laplace transform can be calculated as x of t 1 by 2 pi j integration from minus infinity to infinity x of s e to the power st ds. Yes. Now we'll take up some example to understand it in little more detail how to compute the inverse Laplace transform. So for that I have taken an example here. Find the inverse Laplace transform of the following. X of s is s plus 3 by s plus 1 into s minus 2. Now I can use the integral equation in the previous slide we have generated to generate x of t, but that is little more tedious. So we can go for calculating the inverse Laplace transform by converting x of s into set of standard Laplace transforms, and then we will apply inverse Laplace transform to those standard Laplace transforms. Yes, so for that I will apply partial fraction expansion to this equation to convert it into set of standard Laplace transforms. So x of s can be decomposed into a by s plus a plus b by s minus 2. Yes, the values of a and b you need to calculate. I have calculated the values of a and b as minus 2 by 3 and b as 5 by 3. Yes, now I will write x of s as minus of 2 by 3 by s plus 1 plus 5 by 3 by s minus 2. Now, after applying partial fraction expansion, am I in a position to apply inverse Laplace transform to it? No, because as in the previous slide I explained, Laplace transform always comes with ROC. Yes, so I will be able to generate a unique signal or sequence back from x of s along with ROC. If ROC is not mentioned, then more than one signals can have the same representation in Laplace domain. Yes, so here the ROC is not mentioned in the question. So we will look into what are the all possible ROCs, and based on that what will be the signal x of t. Yes, so here based on this x of s, what are the poles? The first pole p1 is s minus p1 plus s minus p2. So first pole s is equals to minus of 1. So my pole, one of the pole is at minus of 1, another pole is at 2. Yes, so as I have shown in the diagram, I have plotted the poles. One of the pole is at minus of 1, the other pole is at 2. Yes, so these two poles are there for x of s. So what are the values or inverse Laplace transform possible? Now I know that 1 by s plus a is the Laplace transform of, if it is, I am writing ROC is less than minus of A, then the signal will be a left hand signal and it will be minus of e to the power minus of AT u of minus t. Same value 1 by s plus A, if the ROC is greater than minus of A, then the signal will be a right hand signal and it will be written as e to the power minus of AT ut. Yes, so I can go for considering these signals, either a left hand signal or a right hand signal or a combination. Based on that we will generate our x of t back. Yes. So the first solution I will consider. Let us assume that in the previous case I will consider how many combinations of this minus 1 and 2 we will generate. Here I will say my sigma 1 and sigma 2. Yes, sigma 1 is less than minus of 1, sigma 2 is also less than 2, sigma 1. So I'll go to next slide and write it. Let us consider the first case in which I am assuming both the signals to be left sided signal. That means I am assuming my mod of sigma is less than minus of A, or I will write x of s as minus of 2 by 3 s plus 1 plus 5 by 3 s minus 2 with ROC 1 mod of sigma less than minus of 1 and ROC 2 mod of sigma less than 2. Both the signals are left sided sequence. So if this is my real part and imaginary part, S plane, this is minus 1, this is 2. I am assuming for the first signal the ROC is sigma 1 is less than minus of 1, sigma 2 is less than 2. Both are left sided signal. So the signal x of t can be generated as x of t will be as shown minus of, it will be written as minus of capital of A e to the power minus of t u of minus t minus of capital B e to the power 2t u of minus of t, where A is minus of 2 by 3, B is 5 by 3. So x of t can be written as minus of minus, it will be plus 2 by 3 e to the power minus of t minus 5 by 3 e to the power 2t whole into u of minus of t. So this is the case when both the signals considered to be a left sided signal. So this case 1 is for left sided signal. Now I will go to case 2. Where I am assuming both the signals are right sided signal. That means I will consider x of s as minus of 2 by 3 s plus 1 plus 5 by 3 s minus 2 with mod of sigma 1 to be greater than -1 and mod of sigma 2 to be greater than 2. So if I plot the ROC, this is real part, this is imaginary part. These are the poles, -1 and 2. And as it is a right-sided signal, the ROC is greater than -1 and ROC for the second signal is greater than 2. Yes. So these are the ROCs. Or if I write the common ROC will be greater than 2 in this case. Yes. So for this particular signal, if I apply the inverse Laplace transform, it will be e to the power minus of at ut. So in this case, it will be minus of 2 by 3 e to the power minus of t ut plus 5 by 3 e to the power 2t ut. Yes. Then we'll go to the third case. Now, when I'm considering common ROC x of s, there exists a common ROC. This is your real part. This is your imaginary part. The poles are at -1 and 2. The common ROC could be, the third possible common ROC could be that for the first signal, it is a right-sided signal and ROC is greater than -1. And for the second signal, it's a left-sided signal and ROC is less than 2. In that case, I'm getting a common ROC between -1 to 2. So here I'm considering case 3, which is two-sided signal. X of t is a two-sided signal. So for two-sided signal, this is the only possibility that the first signal have ROC as a right hand side and second signal have a ROC in the left hand side. So that we have a common ROC between -1 to 2. For the fourth combination, there is no common ROC, so X of S does not exist. So we'll look into this third case where I'm saying X of S is minus of 2 by 3 S plus 1 plus 5 by 3 S minus 2 mod of sigma 1. The ROC 1 should be your right side signal should be greater than minus of 1. Here mod of sigma 2 should be less than 2. Then we have a common ROC. ROC will be between -1 to 2. Yes. In that case, X of t can be written as, so the first one is your right side signal. So minus of 2 by 3 e to the power minus of at ut. So e to the power minus of t ut plus second one is left side signal. So minus of 5 by 3 e to the power minus of at u of minus of t. So I am getting minus of 2 by 3 e to the power minus of t ut minus 5 by 3 e to the power 2t u of minus t. These are the three cases possible for which X of S exists, because we know that for X of S to exist, it should have some ROC. In the case 1, my common ROC, which is left-sided sequence, my common ROC is less than -1. For right side sequence, my common ROC is greater than 2. And for two-sided sequence, my ROC is between -1 to 2. For the fourth combination, there is no common ROC, so X of S does not exist. Yes, hope this example is clear to all of you. The second example we will consider with complex poles. Yes, so here I have taken one example to explain about the complex poles. F of S is taken as 6s plus 34 by s into s square plus 10s plus 34. You can see that if I apply partial fraction expansion, I am going to decompose this as s plus 34 by s into s plus 5 minus j3 into s plus 5 plus j3. And we can decompose it as a by s plus b by s plus 5 minus j3 plus c by s plus 5 plus j3. So here you can see we are getting the two poles. This is your pole 1, 2 and 3. The first pole is for at 0. The second pole is at minus of 5 plus j3, and third pole is at minus of 5 minus j3. So you can say a plus jb, a minus jb. These are the complex conjugate values, or I have a complex poles. So here when I'm going to apply the partial fraction expansion, at that time we are going to generate the coefficient b and c will also be complex conjugate of each other. B will be, or you can say c will be the complex conjugate of b. The first one is a real pole, so it can be calculated as we have done in the previous examples. So the first pole I will generate A as S into f of s at s is equals to 0, which is 6. Now the second value b constant will be calculated as, here I am going to write s plus 5 minus j3 into f of s for s is equals to minus of 5 plus j3. The value which you are going to generate is 29 plus j3 by minus of 3 minus j5, or if I further simplify, we are going to generate minus of 3 plus j4. Yes, so as I know b and c are complex conjugate of each other, the value of c will be minus of 3 minus j4. Now here you can calculate c as we have calculated b, or simply we can take the advantage that b and c are complex conjugate of each other. So I am going to represent it in this way. So here now I will go for a little more modification after calculating the values of b and c. B can be written as mod of b e to the power j theta, and c will be definitely mod of b e to the power minus of j theta, as they are complex conjugate of each other. If I can express this constant in this form, I can apply the standard Laplace transform pair available in the table. So we are just doing this extra exercise to apply the standard Laplace transform pair to get the inverse Laplace. So I will write these values as it is -3 plus J4 or -3 minus J4. 3b I will first write. So -3 plus J4 can be written as the magnitude will be 3 square plus 4 square root over e to the power j tan inverse 4 by minus of 3, which is 5 e to the power j 126.9 degrees. I have calculated it in degrees. Yes. So if this is the value of B, then definitely C will be 5 e to the power minus of j 126.9 degrees. If I keep them in polar form, then I can apply this particular pair of Laplace transform now, as per which r e to the power minus of at cos bt plus theta ut have a Laplace transform 0.5 r or half r e to the power j theta by s plus a minus of jb plus half r e to the power minus of j theta by s plus a plus jb. So my whole purpose of converting the value b and c into polar form is to apply this pair of Laplace transform. So as per this, I can simply write f of s as 6 by s plus 5 e to the power j 126.9 degree by s plus 5 minus j3 plus 5 e to the power minus of j 126.9 degrees by s plus 5 plus j3. Now after applying inverse Laplace transform, we can generate f of t as 6 1 by s. So it will be 1 by s is for u of t. So 6 u of t plus. Now if I can see half r. So r will be, if here I am getting half r as 5, then r must be 10. 10 e to the power minus of 5t. A is 5 cos b is 3. 3t plus angle will be, theta will be 126.9 degrees ut. So this is the inverse Laplace transform of f of s, where we have complex poles. Hope these examples are clear to all of you. Thank you for watching my video.